Happy summer solstice day to everybody. So happy you're here. The wind just picked up really intensely. I don't know if you can hear all my chimes. They're all going in the background. I'm on my balcony. I remember I talk about my trees. Look at just incredible, right? And this is the famous balcony that I talk about at the winter solstice, and I talk about how I have stones glued to the balcony for summer solstice, winter solstice, spring equinox, fall equinox, because I'm facing, behind me is due west. And so this is my summer solstice crystal that half crystal that I have on there. And so it catches the light, and when the sun comes down, right, it goes for that one day, or actually 3 days, because the solstice means sun stands still, it seems. And so what happens is the sun apparently stands still in the sky because what it's doing is it's changing direction. It's going across the sky and then it comes all the way back. And so we're at that time of year where we have the longest light. And so I love that. I mean, how great to face due west, which is my favorite. I used to have a house that was facing due east, and I didn't do good with that. It was the morning sun going wham, and it was so intense, the sun, coming up, but I love the sun going down. So it's so, for me, this way of facing. Yeah, so here we are, and we're just doing a little check-in for the solstice. Since we do a very important meditation at winter solstice, I like to mark the summer solstice as well. It's a completely different energy, of course. In the southern hemisphere, they're having winter solstice right now, so it's all completely flipped. But we are at the time of maximum light, and in the southern hemisphere, they're having the least light. They're at winter solstice. So it's opposite energy. But on this side, we have maximum light now. And so this light is, today will be the longest light of the year of this, and every day that follows will be a little bit less, very gradually, until the end of the year we get to winter solstice. So one of the things I wanted to remind you of is, some of you that are here for the winter solstice, think of your words. And if you do remember them, hopefully you do, and you have placed them somewhere prominently so that you remember. I have mine on my candle back here, that I write my word on the candle, and I burn it all year long to keep working with that word. It's good to touch it again 6 months into the year, because remember, the whole concept for the winter solstice is we get our soul-given word, and then we have a whole year to learn it, a whole year. So what a practice that is, to take a concept or a word and work with something, a single word or a phrase, for a whole year. So when we do the full moons, we're working on a pulse for a month, for 28 days. When we do the new moon, same thing. We do the new moon and the full moon. Now we're on 14-day pulses. And solstices are year pulses. So it's these different levels of intentionality that you're working on, many levels of awareness, with bigger and bigger ideas, things that you're working short term, things that you're working long term. And so it's really powerful, right, to intentionally do that. So if you do know, if you were here for the winter solstice, which I hope you are, that's a big darn deal. It really sets the tone. It's the official new year. Every year it's our new year, the least light point, where the light starts to increase after that. Today, it's at its maximum zenith, maximum light, maximum clarity, maximum energy. We've got a full sun, I call it. Rather than a full moon, we have a full sun on summer solstice. So it's a big, big deal. And so we're right in the middle. And as you're thinking about your word, if you had one, put that into your meditation. I'll probably remind you of that. For some of you that were there, you can just drop it in and just see where it is right now. And it's always good to kind of check in with it anyway, because it's changing all year round. Last year, we actually did a solstice 6-month word review, and we actually all of us shared, you know, where we were with it, because it's really quite the unfolding as you express it. And when you're doing it in your head, it's very powerful, but it's even more with witnesses, with kindred, with tribe, to say your word aloud to everyone, and everybody's holding it with you, and we're kind of holding the energy together for something. And also you find yourself knowing more about it than maybe you thought, you know, as you start to speak about it. So the summer solstice today was exact this morning at 7:58. So it's already passed, so we're already going down in the light, just incrementally. And think of this time as like a tuning time, to tune yourself to the cosmos. You're tuning yourself to the sun. You're tuning, which is a portal, the sun. It is a portal through which when we go all the way up to Sirius, you know, in our full moon meditations, one of the points is the heart of the sun, right? So it's from Sirius to the heart of the sun. And so we're using that energy portal to get a bigger download than we do with the full moon even. And so it's powerful. And also what it means is, how we know when the solstice is happening is when the sun comes to 0 degrees 0 Cancer. So that's where we are. That happened this morning at 7:58, 0 degrees 0. At the winter solstice, it's 0 degrees 0 Capricorn, the opposite sign. And think of the difference between how perfectly described the winter solstice is in Capricorn, right? Spartan, right? The leaves come off the trees. It gets quiet. It's still. It's focused. And Cancer is family, right? And going to the park and being outside and feelings and all those things. So they're very opposite energies. And we're in that time, you know, getting ready for 4th of July and, you know, all this time of summertime, of coming out and being full of energy at this time in the year. And people are full of energy during the summer and summer solstice. There's more light. People that are light sensitive actually are affected by light, or not as much light. And there's light machines that you can get to put in your room so that you get more colored light, so it helps for depression and things like that. I remember when I used to live in London that it would get dark like at 3 o'clock. You know, it was so strange. You know, the more north you go, right, it starts getting darker earlier and earlier. So it's really intense. So there's not that much light time. So this is time of maximum light, and we're thinking of tuning in and tuning up with the sun, the solar point of the sun. And if the winter solstice is sort of this, the summer solstice is more like a gong, like those great big, those great big, it's more that energy, right, of this big energy going out and rippling out and rippling out. And so you can use this time to sort of intentionally think about what you want to ripple out. The last new moon, I just did a meditation class a few days ago, and we talked about two concepts. And it was the new moon in Gemini, right? And we talked about discernment. I used that as my keyword to talk about the right use of mind, right? Right awareness, right consciousness. And we talked about disciplining the mind and why meditation is so important. And these concepts were all within that meditation class. And I gave everybody a practice, though, at the end. Well, there were two practices I gave. The first practice I gave was to practice saying when you're meditating, I am meditating. It's a very powerful phrase that so obvious to say when you're meditating that you don't need to say I am meditating. But when we do our meditation in a moment, I want you to use that phrase because it clarifies. It pulls you into the present like that. And it's different because there's so much will now lined up with this idea of I'm meditating and I'm thinking about what's for dinner, which is a really different type of meditation than I am meditating. Right? It's intentional. And then we talked about this is a thought and this is a thought and I am meditating. As you're making this clarification of mind awareness and really using the discipline, right, to stay present to this conversation and to yourself and to what's happening right here and now. So that was number one practice. And number two practice, which I want to give to this solstice meditation as well, because it's so perfect for summer solstice. And that was that this whole month of the new moon in Gemini, to practice consciously noticing little joys. Little joys. It's like you're learning to register something that we're so much better at registering problems, right? Don't like this, don't want to do it, don't want to get up today. We're so good at finding everything that's wrong in our life and making lists and trying to figure it out and bringing all of our attention to it. And so that principle of what you focus on gets bigger suddenly becomes very important to remember, because if it is that the only thing I'm going to notice and focus on is what's wrong, then I'm going to have manifestational consequences. So I choose, right? So I am disciplining my mind to focus on what I'm trying to grow and what I'm trying to make and what I'm trying to create. As much and maybe more, if I can, to lean into that rather than lean into, here's all the things that are wrong in my life. And we could all make a list, right? There's so many things. I mean, we could just point in any direction and there's things, I got to fix that Eve. Anywhere I look, I can find, that tree needs trimming or something, right? Or I can notice that there are owls in my trees. Right? Every night I get to listen to them through the evening, right? And so I'm choosing, right? And choosing love, choosing joy is a practice. So I'm reminding you of that, and some of you that were here for the class, we really talked about that a lot, and I'm reminding you of solstice ones that are here and people that were there too, to don't forget this, because it's all the difference in the world in terms of what happens. So you get to choose. And I said a quote, and I don't know if I'll say it right, but I can paraphrase it if it's not quite right, but it's basically the idea that when we're not choosing love consciously, we are therefore then choosing fear. And if you really scanned your thoughts, really did, and if we could write them all down, which you wouldn't be able to because there's so many thoughts that are coming so fast and furious, you can't even keep track of them. But if you could keep track of them, where is it weighted? Where is it weighted? And how do you practice consciously choosing for the highest rather than the lowest? So it becomes an action where you're practicing something, you're building a muscle that lets you, and this is this word I've been using all year, register positive energy or healing energy or joy energy or peace energy. Because if I'm really practiced at registering fear and negativity and judgment, right, I can be very practiced at that. I can get really good at it. And that is that will be my world, right? So what are you making, you know? So here at the time of most light, we're getting big download of light into this meditation time, into the world, around the world. The whole world is being affected by this. How will you allow this light to move and inspire you and sort of lift you and remind you of what you're actually here for? You know, if you take, it sounds so strange to say, but it isn't strange at all. If you take the fear of death out of things, that you're living in this moment and this is the only moment, everything's more beautiful. Things become poignant, you know? Conversations are valuable. What I choose to say or not say, my choices change because of that present, now. And in a way, so we're always like going to do that later, you know? And then later is the new now, and we're going to do that later. And then time goes by. Or you can practice presence now, right here, right now, with me, with us. We're practicing presence. And you can feel the infusion of light that's coming through your roof, through your ceiling, through the sky, into your consciousness, into your awareness right now. And let it change you. Let it make the sign of the solar sign of Cancer, and we're in it as of this morning, 0 degrees 0 Cancer, is to build a lighted house, which is so beautiful and so wonderful use of Cancerian energy, which rules the home, your house, your heart, your feelings, the family, the mother, right? To build a lighted house, so that if you were lost in the forest, that in the distance you might see a lantern in the window, you know, you can be a lighted house, or you can find the lighted house, or you become the lighted house, right? You become that lighted house. So these are the practices I want to remind you of. And so the last one I left off on, I am meditating and registering little joys. And then you can be, like I keep teaching everybody that I can get my hands on, you can start to learn to be in awe of whatever is in front of you, right? Including yourself, and this is important, because you can't exclude yourself and be the one flawed being in the universe. It's in the same awe that could you look in the mirror and awe at you, you know, that's tough. That is. But that would be a practice in its own right. And I've given that as a practice to certain people for certain reasons, right? So, joy, light. These are the words that we're going to go into our meditation now. So when you're ready to, if you have a candle, you can light it. And just feel the power of group endeavor. Feel the power of a group, of group awareness, of many coming together intentionally for creating more light. And as you're here on this day of maximum light, feel your crown chakra on purpose open. Get used to thinking of that happening, opening chakras on purpose. Opening up the heart chakra, opening up the throat chakra, opening up the third eye. That's really important. Opening up the crown chakra, so that you're starting to run energy through all the chakras of the body, these energy vortexes in the body that govern all different things. If we could go, you know, we could talk a lot about that, but a lot of you know about it. And for right now, let's start with opening the crown chakra. It's the big satellite dish, right, on the top of your head that's going, I am receptive. right? And what am I receptive to? I'm receptive to light. I'm receptive to soul. I'm receptive to my own soul. I'm receptive to this maximum light. So using that phrase, I am receptive to this maximum light, begin to close your eyes now. I am receptive to maximum light. And now feel your heart chakra open. My heart is open and receptive to maximum light. I let my heart be filled with light. Feel the third eye open. That even if your eyes are closed, you can still see. I see. And then begin to open into the space of this meditation, beginning with, I am meditating. Om. I am meditating. Clearing the space of the mind, letting the mind become quiet. The second line of the sutras says, yoga, used to say this every class practically, yoga is the settling of the mind into stillness. And in Western yoga, you wouldn't know that a lot of the time. Right? But that is the goal. Yoga is the settling of the mind into stillness. Om. I am meditating. Every time you say in your mind, I am meditating, feel it like that gong we talked about. That's beautiful sound that hits every sound. It's that shh, you know? That big sound, like if the sun could make a sound, it would be a gong. And I am meditating. And I am meditating. And you start to let that silence build a building silence, a building stillness, a deepening of presence, opening and opening and opening into the stillness, and today into the light, into the light. And through that crown chakra, feel this pouring of pure light through the crown, moving through all the chakras, through the head center, third eye, in the cave, into the throat chakra, into the heart chakra, into the solar plexus, sun plexus, into the navel, second chakra, into the first chakra all the way at the base, the will to be, And still through the crown, this light is pouring in, making adjustments, making corrections, revitalizing the field, realigning your energies to be coherent to light, light with light, light with light. And in the space of all this light now, and feel that if you could flood it with light, that gong, whoosh, that gong of light, that gong of light. At the center point of that, become acutely aware, perfectly present. And I am meditating. I am meditating. In light supreme, I am meditating. I allow maximum light to infuse my world, our world, my life. What needs more light? Feel, sense this light. Fill all the spaces and places where light is needed, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. In light supernal, I stand. And feel yourself receiving light. Registering light. Registering joy. I am light in form. Om. And into this meditation, just if you know your solstice word from the winter solstice, bring it in now, just for a moment, just touch it. You may know a lot very quickly as you drop it into this light. And allow this light to affect this intention. And allow this light to affect your life, to heal your life, to open the consciousness to love, light, peace, joy. I am registering light. I am registering joy. I am registering love, capital L, love. And then use your breath to organize yourself to this maximized light in yourself, in your consciousness, in your mind, in your heart, in your body. Letting your breath integrate it. Feeling yourself blending with light. So all your cells are lit up. And when you're ready to, I'm just going to read this little Tibetan prayer. You can sort of say it with me in your mind. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you awaken to the light of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for all beings. All blessings to all beings. Om, Om, Om. Good. Good work. Thank you. Really good. Really beautiful. Yeah, so thank you for being part of this gathering of consciousness, of light. As it's getting darker, I feel like I'm all bright. And the next full moon is July 3rd, I believe. I'm doing it on Monday online, and I will be on Sunday live at Meditation Mount in Ojai with Michael and the gang over there. So you're welcome to join us there too. And I hope you come to the winter solstice as well. That's to me, like the biggest day of the year. As a reset and an intentionality offering, but so is this day, right? Second is this. And so, or first, I mean, people would have a debate about that, but it's all so powerful right now. So, and thank you so much for the notes that you send me. It always just touches me. And donations and things. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This helps me a lot. But especially just your words, and for being part of this and holding the energy of love for all of us, for all of us. So I'll see you next time, maybe at the full moon or at a class. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the year till the solstice, finishing winter solstice, and hopefully I'll see you in between then. Thank you, everybody.